And it feels like the Skubal domino will be falling at some point, whether it's the next one, whether it's a few weeks down the road, yet to be seen. But it got us thinking here to do a little minor league tieback. Which team has the farm system and just the flat out resources to pull it off? But I do want to keep the farm system as an element in there, because if I just say resources, the answer is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
The team for me, you mentioned them for Pete Alonso. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles, a team that
I
has
like it.
had the top end prospect talent. Bunch of those guys have graduated. Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday, Kobe Mayo as well. But you get Pete Alonso. The biggest thing for the Orioles has been the pitching, especially the top end pitching. They got Corbin Burns a few years ago. But again, in a brutal division, getting a trump card that you can give the ball to every fifth day against those explosive offenses in that division. And it seems like the ownership is willing to spend money. They're willing to move capital to win. And on top of it, you've got a log jam with Adley, Samuel Basayo right now. I think this is a piece that could really kind of push the number on that. So again, we got some trade proposals right now for all of our teams. For me, for the Orioles, Skubal for Kobe Mayo, a guy that's right now log jammed, a guy that the Tigers can use plug and play on the infield. Heston Kjerstad, another former top prospect, power in the outfield, struggled last year, a sub 200 average, a lot of strikeouts. Think he could use a change of scenery, more playing time. Ike Irish, the Orioles' number 3 prospect, catcher, outfielder, blocked a little bit right now with Adley Basayo at the top. Esteban Mejia and the Orioles' number 7 prospect, a right-handed arm right now in Double-A, but had an excellent season last year as a starter. He's that kind of pitcher for the Tigers to add to their farm.
I like that a lot. If you look at the Orioles over time, they have been known, and especially are now, that they went out and got a Pete Alonso. They've got pretty hot bats. They're able to put up runs, but it's been the dog days of a few years ago where John Means was their ace, and that's no offense to him, but pitching depth has been an issue for them at Camden Yards. It feels like they lose a lot of those 7-5 ball games. I like the Kobe Mayo pick too, because it does feel like there's not really a place for him right now. And I don't know if it comes in a Skubal trade or if it comes somewhere else. But to be fair to him, and to also use someone who's kind of teetering on that graduation status right now effectively while he's valuable, and he can go somewhere where he plays 120, 140 games out of the year, I think that's really good. Heston Kjerstad, just my quick note on it before I pitch it over to you, Sam, is that he was actually the first ever prospect to be mentioned on this channel. He dropped like a 10 RBI game for the Norfolk Tides a couple of years ago, and we threw a video up on him, and off we went. So Heston Kjerstad will forever be engraved in a minor league minute lore.
That he is. And I'm going to stay in the AL East with my selection. And if any of you haven't followed me on Twitter, I was very vocal about this last year, or last season, I should say, back in June when the Brewers were still skidding a little bit. And there were rumors that Freddie Peralta was going to get the Josh Hader treatment, where he's traded with a year and a half of control still left. I had the Boston Red Sox the whole time for Freddie Peralta. I now have the Boston Red Sox for Tarik Skubal. The reason being is that they should make a pitch, no pun intended, because there's plenty of starting pitching depth that they can send back for Tarik Skubal to Detroit. So, in my return package for Detroit, I have Tarik Skubal going to Boston in exchange for outfielder Nate Eaton, because Detroit is a little thin in the big league level in terms of outfielders. They have their main 3 in Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, and insert center fielder here. So Nate Eaton just as a 4th outfielder. Peyton Tolley, Boston's number 2, and Major League Baseball's number 27. Justin Gonzalez, another outfield prospect. He's Boston's current number 5. John Holobitz is a right-handed starter in the minor leagues. He's currently Boston's 18. And shortstop prospect Starlin Nunez just as a sweetener. He's not in the top 30, but he's got an okay bat, decent glove. He's just a solid player at single A right now. So I got 5 guys going back to Detroit in Tarik Skubal possible to Boston trade.
I like that a lot. Him, And Garrett Crochet being in the same rotation is actually horrifying to think
Would
about.
be nuts.
Early had a good postseason performance too. He got in that duel with Cam Schlittler and came out on the wrong end of it. But that was someone too who came out, got hotter as the season went on. You get the expanded roster going into the postseason, and he showed out. All right, so the Red Sox, we have that as our second pick. The Orioles were the first pick. I'm all over the Mets, conjuring up some type of deal for Skubal. We'll get to the return package at the end here, but for three reasons. One, they just let Pete Alonso walk instead of extending him. That frees up some financial room for Skubal in 26 and beyond, which is important for somebody who could be on the move. And ultimately, the whole reason we're talking about this is he wants that extension. He wants that long-term home somewhere, wants the money, and wants the idea of competing to be real going forward. And I do think the Mets, if they bring him in and get some pitching depth along with him and also fill out the bottom half of the order, which we talked about in the first episode, as possible. Two, the Mets are one of the biggest spenders in the league. Actually, for the majority of last year, they were the biggest spender in the league. So in terms of a likely destination where he can get that sought-after extension, I think David Stearns and that front office are well-equipped to take care of him. Three, the prospect crop for New York, especially when talking about top-end talent, one of their strengths, that top five, they can flex with the best of them. It's up there with almost anybody. Nolan McLean, I think, would be untouchable. I don't think there's a scenario where New York says, here's our brightest pitching star and one of the best pitching prospects in baseball right now. Now we're going to lock down Skubal. I think they would like there to be a world where they have both of those guys. But number three, Jet Williams. There's your bat power for a little bit. Jonah Tong and Brandon Sproat. It's just rounding out the top five. It's 3, 4, and 5. I think that could be it. And if you end up going Jet Williams and Jonah Tong, we'll say the 3 and the 4 in the Mets system, plus a big leaguer, you throw in a recently graduated guy from a couple of years ago in Brett Beatty, who was a highly touted prospect. There's your league-ready bat. He's been teetering a little bit. Jet Williams gives you some pop and some speed, most importantly, and then you get your pitching depth as compensation. Two of the better pitching prospects in baseball right now in Tong and Sproat. They've both been cracked into Major League Baseball. It didn't go very well for Tong last year. He was a little inconsistent, but it's such a small sample size that I'm willing to buy in for it. So, yeah, I would go Skubal for Jet Williams, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat, or Skubal for Jet Williams, Jonah Tong, or Brandon Sproat, and then on top of that, you throw in a Brett Beatty. There's your major leaguer. There's someone who at least can prove he's able to go out there and plug in and start for you. So, pretty good mix, guys, I would say.
Keeping it in the East Coast.
Yeah,
He's going east.